Rhys, dude, I'm so excited. We're getting a new Alien movie this year. We are back, baby!
I am always down for a new Alien movie, but here's the thing that I don't get is I know what a Covenant is, I know what a Resurrection is, I even know what the number 3 is, but what's a Romulus?
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Here's the first movie.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Peel that pig and slice him thick!
The body count is always bigger.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
And the fucking trees walked in those movies.
Hi, doggy.
What a story, Mark.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled.
It's just like your opinion, man.
Life moves pretty fast.
If you want your sequel to become a franchise.
37 dicks!
In a row?
I'm your number one fan.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Marathon Me with your hosts Rhys
and Kane.
And we are back into the Alien franchise with a Marathon Me update. And today we are tackling Alien Romulus, set between the first Alien and Aliens in the year 2042, where we're back in a weird zone where, like, it's not really a prequel anymore, but it's sort of a sequel and a prequel. Like, we're now going into the sort of lore where we're just chucking in somewhere in the middle of all the chaos of what the Alien movies are. And, man, my seatbelt was freaking latched in for this movie, man. There was so much marketing everywhere for it. I felt like that it sort of snuck up on us. But then approaching the last couple of Alien weeks, it was all I could think about. I was so freaking hyped for this one, man.
Oh, completely. Yeah, it was like when I first heard of this movie coming out, I thought it was like those types of, like several horror movies sequels will get announced, like Rob Zombie's Halloween 3, for example, but they just never come out. So I thought a new Alien movie was very I don't know, like a long dead idea. But as we got closer, Romulus started getting more buzz. I'm like, oh, this is real. This is happening. And yeah, there was a lot of marketing, but I did a complete media blackout for this. I avoided like any type of advertising and trailers like the plague. I made sure to go in completely blind for this because I was that hyped for it, and I just because this is I'm gonna be frank, the Alien series is one of my favorite horror franchises that I've gotten to like kind of revisit, and also like one of my favorite series that we've tackled personally.
Yeah, with like, out of all the Alien films that we watched, there really only being one that we didn't like is a pretty good strike record for a horror franchise.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I am the same as you. I multiple times when sitting in a movie theater watching the trailers before the actual film began, when the Alien Romulus trailer came up, I put my head between my freaking knees, like hands on my ears, because I didn't want to hear anything. And when I went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine, I saw it with a couple of friends that watched the Alien Romulus trailer all the way through. And then when I came from my cave of silence between my legs, I came back up to talk to them about it, and they both said, man, that just gave away the whole movie. I know who dies now. I know what happens.
Actually? I guess, you know what? I'm not even surprised, mate. I'm not even surprised that they would do that.
Because there's not a hell of a lot of characters in this movie, right? So this trailer does show a few deaths, and in showing that, you're showing some of the few characters who's gonna meet their end and who's not.
That's
what
maddening,
the fuck?
dude. That's so maddening. My goodness, wow.
Even though that it like, since now watching the movie, I have watched the trailer, and it's like a tense, good trailer that sort of sells the film, but it also gives away the freaking film. And
okay, so they weren't even just saying it, like, having the context of the movie. Yeah, okay, like it'd be even more like egregious of how spoilery it is.
The main trailer is something like 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and that is too much. That shows too much of the movie.
My God.
Like, minute and 30 seconds max is all you need, I think.
When did trailers become like the same length as a Smosh video? What is going on here?
Oh my God, yeah, you're right. You're right.
You don't need, like, we don't need that long of an advertising. Like, just a simple 30 second block. That's really all we need, Like, we don't need like a mini condensed version before going to actually see it, Like, what's going on?
With something like the Alien franchise, all you need is a title card, to be honest, to sell most of the seats seats and get people into those theaters. That's all you need.
Well, from what I remember, that's basically how I believe the first Alien movie was sold. It was just the title card and the quote, "In space, no one can hear you scream."
Exactly.
And how effective was that, man? Like, that's still like one of the best pieces of marketing I've ever seen for a film. Like, why don't we harken back to that? Like, come on.
You know what? Let's not even talk about the movie this episode. Let's just talk about trailers and reviewing the trailers and marketing material because that is really what like the film industry relies on. But okay, actually, let's talk about the movie a little bit. So before we go like too much into it, do you know much about this director? Because after coming off of Alien Covenant, who with like Ridley Scott sort of jumping back on the wagon, he jumped right away back off the wagon for this one, and this was directed by Fede Alvarez. Do you know him?
Fede Alvarez, and yes, I do. I'm a big fan of his work. I've pretty much seen like all of his major directorial features. So to those who maybe who are unfamiliar, Fede Alvarez is he's like, you know, like a big deal horror, like a big deal like a horror director of the early 2010s to now, having kind of making his big break with the Evil Dead remake, which I haven't seen in years, but is a pretty good time. Directed other films like Don't Breathe, obviously Alien Covenant, and The Girl in the Spider's Web. Are you familiar with that film, Rhys?
Well, I'm mainly familiar with it with your deep dive to all of these Girl and the Blank movies recently.
The Millennium series, yes. That film, it's not really that good, and it's not really that good because it's focused more so on like the action and espionage aspect of those Millennium films, which like that wasn't their whole point. There were murder mysteries and thrillers, but there are certain little tidbits, little scenes where you can still see Fede Alvarez's knack for creating dread and tension really shine through. And so when I heard he was attached to this new Alien film, I was like, yes, this is a match made in heaven. Let's go. What about you, Rhys? Are you that familiar with his work?
Well, yeah, how promising, right? With the Evil Dead remake being probably one of the best, like, 21st century horror remakes out there, right?
Yeah.
With perfectly sort of injecting new life into it, as well as being able to like reference and properly sort of like homage the original source material, like which is perfect for like jumping onto the Alien bandwagon. As well as Don't Breathe, I really, really liked. I remember
it's such a good movie, man. I love Don't Breathe so much.
Have you thought about the connection between Don't Breathe and the Alien franchise? Have you thought about this yet?
Not so much the Alien franchise, but like there are definitely little bits and pieces in Romulus that definitely feel very reminiscent of Don't Breathe, which I adored, honestly. But like how so in terms of the I feel like I'll probably know once you say it. But tell me your piece.
Okay, on paper, Don't Breathe and Alien Romulus, and probably as extension, most of the like horror-based Alien films are both films about a predatory figure in an enclosed space hunting down these weaker people to ultimately inseminate them at the end.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking that, but I'm like,
right?
I was thinking that, but I'm like, no, I won't say Rhys will definitely have like he'll definitely word it better, kind of thing, get the point across more cohesively. No, that is maddening, bro. Holy wow,
Fede Alvarez, you freak. What are you doing? Like even Evil Dead for a little bit is about a parasite trying to like inhabit the human form. I haven't seen Girl in the Spider's Web, but is there any sort of weird insemination stuff going on there?
Not that I remember. No. It's a lot more like that film is a lot more tame compared to Fede Alvarez's other work, and even like the other Millennium films. Like it's definitely a lot more light in terms of content, you know.
Okay. So anyway, it's made me curious to dive more into the other fewer like films that he's done, which is not a bunch. He hasn't done too many, but see if there is any more insemination and cross through with all the rest. But also with this movie, going into it, I think that my expectations were in a bit of a different place than like the previous two prequel Alien films, right? Because like just by on the surface, it feeling like a much more mid-budget Alien movie in the way of like Prometheus is fucking massive, like just the scale. Like I don't think that like on the standards of film, right? The scale is just as high as you can get almost, especially for like a sci-fi horror sort of thing. And then Alien Covenant was a little bit more into like a little bit sort of simpler and a little bit more horror based. But then this one seemed to go back to horror roots generally, right? I was very excited about that. With the budget hasn't been completely 100% confirmed, but it's estimated to be around 60 to 70 million for this one, which is very low on the like on the sort of scale of Alien sequels, right? Much lower than the two prequels anyway that we just saw.
Yeah, I could definitely imagine. Because at least with like the higher budgets of those, that was like really Scott money. So like obviously it was going to be like higher, like way higher kind of thing.
Totally. And we've been calling out for this in recent episodes anyway, right? Is how like maybe what Hollywood needs are more of these sort of mid-budget movies. Like where the controlling it a little bit, you don't have to like put invest everything into it, because then the standard to then be a success, a financial success, is so freaking high. And what I'm so excited about with this one is that I think that it really, really has the potential to be a success because that bar is not so through the roof. And
completely.
And you can see how then it allows it to be a little bit more like self-contained in scope, include more up-and-coming actors, instead of, having like Charlize Theron and all these like sort of big names, Michael Fassbender and stuff in the
fucking Danny
in the movie.
McBride.
Danny McBride, yeah, exactly. Household name Danny McBride is not in this. Spoiler alert, does not appear in Alien Romulus.
What? No. Oh, so sad.
And that really excited me, especially where it's like, it really does, like, this whole franchise really does, like, seem to explore genre and go in different, sort of align itself with different positions on the spectrum of genre, right? Some will go harder sci-fi, harder horror, harder action, and this one was more in that sort of horror camp.
Yeah, yeah, completely.
So I was hyped. Did you have any other, like, pre-thoughts before getting into the trailer and stuff?
I mean, my thoughts are basically the same as yours. Like, just to rehash, is that I was just mainly just very excited to just, with the limited knowledge I had about like what Romulus was going to be, is that all I knew is that it was going more back to basics, a proper horror, not really going as grand in terms of scale or theming as say Prometheus or Covenant, which obviously we've talked about our opinions on those two movies. I won't rehash, but yeah, I like obviously I love a film with like big thematic meanings, but I was just looking forward to just going back to an Alien movie that was just trying to be scary, like just going like a nice back to basics kind of smaller scale horror movie, which is just I feel like what the public needs after like some very divisive last two Alien movies. So yeah, I was very excited just for this to go kind of back to its roots, basically.
Totally. With getting a lot closer in the timeline to the original Alien, it found itself spiritually becoming a lot closer to the original Alien.
I actually had no idea that it was meant to take place in between Alien and Aliens until like maybe halfway through the movie when it clicked for me.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's actually, I actually find that way more exciting than having, like, I sort of, that was one piece of marketing that I could not get away from,
really?
So many, my social media timeline was just full of people putting the Alien franchise timeline right in front of me.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I could not escape that. But speaking of not being able to escape, this film is pretty much follows this group of misfits that while scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station, a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe. And here's a bit of the trailer of Alien Romulus.
Welcome to the Romulus space station.
This place gives me the creeps. What the hell is this?
I don't know.
What the fuck was that? Young?
Stop playing around, man. Just get up.
I'm not playing around. There's something in the water.
What do you mean there's something in the water?
I don't know. There's just something in the fucking water.
Run.
So as this movie did just come out the other day, and we don't want people to... We don't want to ruin the experience for people. We don't want to reveal details that could ruin what Alien Romulus could be to you. So we're giving a big official spoiler alert right now. So if you do want to watch this film and don't want anything potentially ruined, then come back later after you've seen it. But Kane, what did you think of Alien Romulus?
All I wanted from this movie is that I just wanted it to be better than Covenant. That's all. That was my main wish. And boy howdy, did it pass the bar, man. This was a blast. This was a blast. Now, it's not perfect. I do have some issues with it, and I'm sure maybe you also do as well. But this is such a great return to form for the Alien series. I am more than happy to announce that this is a banger of a time, man.
Yes, I am very, very glad to hear. I think that the reason that... So early in the week after I finished Alien, I texted Kane with just saying Alien Romulus. That was my entire text, with no context or anything. And I think that what happened in my brain was that I wanted to text him about the movie and tell him some, like, sort of first opinions, but then I stopped myself and then just sent the title by accident.
Oh, was that an accident?
Yeah, I did not know. I did not remember that I sent you that at all.
That's even funnier now. Oh my god!
And I'm glad that I did. So then we could save it for this, because dude, I agree so much. I thought this was great. We literally just got a text right now in a group chat from our friend Jacob asking, "Is Romulus worth seeing in cinemas?" And I would say, Jacob, it is. It totally is worth seeing in cinemas.
Damn straight, baby. Damn straight.
I was deeply impressed, and it was one of those experiences where if I wasn't smiling, I was gasping. Like, it was...
My God, yeah.
It really did explore the whole sort of wide range of emotions for me, I thought. I agree with you that it's not gonna, like, stay with me as much as some other installations in this franchise, but also it is because the bar is so high.
Yeah, completely.
And it does still, like, this is the thing that I'm very happy about, it still, for me, places Alien Covenant on its own little island as the only bad Alien film. Full stop.
More than happy to announce that Covenant is still staying on its own. Like, so happy to announce that, man. My God. And also, like, what you said before about how you were either smiling or gasping, that was my reaction as well throughout this entire movie. I was just grinning ear to ear from like the first 30 seconds. I've had the biggest smile. This is like one of my favorite theater experiences I've had, just because I had the biggest smile on my face the entire way through, man. It was. I felt giddy watching this, man. I'll tell you what, as an Alien fan.
That is so good. So good to hear. I think that I had a tiny bit of a slow start, which I was fine with. But I do have this opinion that I think that they could have possibly started the film without the opening on Jackson's Star. I think,
okay.
Like, this is, like, hear me out here. I think that it could have been interesting and maybe a little bit more clean of an overall film if maybe they start the movie as they're sort of already on the ship, as they're scavenging.
Right.
And then they reveal through dialogue and through like little hints here and there what they're doing there on the ship, right?
Right. Yeah, okay.
Because something that is, like, this is quite rare for the Alien franchise. Usually we're following professionals, right?
Yeah.
Where here, it's like scavengers that we're like pretty much like desperate scavengers on this ship out of pure like desperation.
Yeah.
And I think that it would have been this nice sort of like I like the choice overall and don't have a massive issue with it, but I think it could have been a nice sort of like pulling the rug from under you situation if they didn't reveal this right away and you slowly as an audience member realize, oh fuck, they're not supposed to be here.
Right,
I think that could have been quite cool. And then you like working out the different dynamic between all the different characters that exist and everything. That's a little like a script note from Rhys.
Yeah. Writers of Alien Romulus, take notes for your next entry, okay?
Yeah, exactly. But like, were there any sort of like initial thoughts that you had sort of going into this at the start of the movie?
I mean, I guess like I had a similar thought where like the first third is very slow pace. I was more than happy with the slow pace that this film was taking because it very much harkens back to the first movie where like it takes a sweet time. You get to know the characters and their situation and who they are, what they're doing. I, for one, didn't mind the stuff on Jackson's Star. I thought it was a nice way to kind of obviously like I don't think it's a bad idea to have it kind of like why they're on this space station and why they're doing this like revealed through dialogue. I personally didn't mind that they showed this kind of almost like slums of Blade Runner looking ass mining colony that they're in, where it's like overcrowded, everyone's like all imposing and violent, like everyone's all dirty and desperate, and they're in a place where they feel they don't belong and they feel that they will die here. Like I personally didn't mind that kind of stuff. I thought that was a nice way of setting the mood and kind of getting these characters you can really feel for by showing rather than telling kind of thing. That's how I personally feel, at least.
That's fair. I think the thing that I find a bit weird about it is that in this entire franchise, we're not really seeing much like sort of planetary civilizations going on.
Yeah, it's always like whenever we see like any like when it's not in a spaceship, it's always like either like bureaucrats or scientists kind of thing. Like we never see like a colony colonies or just like the people, the work. We never see the working man on planets. Obviously we see the working man like in space, like with the crew of the Nostromo, but we never see the working man just like on different colonies, you know what I mean?
You also never see an environment as inhabited as this.
Yeah.
You usually never are brought into a setting that has more than like 10 people in a single room or like in a single sort of localized area. It just doesn't really happen here. And I think that it's interesting to see angles where obviously that would happen in this universe, but if that's the case, I maybe want a little bit more than what you got there, and then feeling like that was inconsequential then to the overall sort of film. But then what it does do that I think is quite cool is that it does set up this really effective audience surrogate in the main character of Rain, right?
Yeah.
Because essentially, she's like this working class lady. First time that haven't gotten a professional in the like main protagonist.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to break the rules. She's like she's willing to sort of like go through like the conventions of like the society that she's in, but then is essentially hit by inflation and an economy that is working against her. And when she has already worked the 12,000 hours that she was like owed and supposed to do, and then be able to go to another planet and get like a better life for herself, they pretty much just go, actually we need 24,000 hours from you.
That's just like psych.
Yeah, sorry about that. But anyway, your life is going to be totally different now.
Yeah, goddamn.
And like that is the trigger. The whole trigger of her deciding to like go and scavenge and like break the rules, and then this whole movie happening in the first place is the economy fucking her.
And man, Alien Romulus getting too real, really tackling some real world issues, man. Damn.
Exactly. But speaking of Rain, a massive strength of this film, right, is the great characters in the two leads, right?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Of Rain being played by Kaylee Spaney. Do you know her?
I've heard the name. I don't remember what she's been in, though.
The whole movie, I'm thinking, man, where have I seen this face before? And like something really recent, something quite big, where she also showed off her talent. Where was it?
Yeah.
And I realized it was the movie Civil War.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, have you seen Civil War yet?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay. Totally worth it. And she is brilliant as sort of like this up-and-coming journalist character in there. Really like wide, sort of diverse emotions that she's shown through her performances. And yeah, that's where she was. And she was also Priscilla in the movie Priscilla, the like Jacob Elordi Elvis film.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to be popping up way more from this point forward.
Damn, very nice. That's really it's really cool that like in the last couple of years we've gotten quite a lot of late coming sequels to big franchises. Obviously, we had the first Omen earlier this year. We had Prey 2 years ago. It's like featuring really great up and coming young actresses. Like it's a great trend to see, honestly, in these new horror entries. Like it's really cool to see, man, honestly.
Very, very true. And like elevating them to become like being this sort of first step into like household name status.
Yeah.
Very excellent point, man. There's but then also another shining massive light in this movie has to be the character of Andy, right?
Oh my god.
Holy fuck. One of the probably like arguably one of the best freaking what are they called in this universe? Like the replicant cyborgs,
synthetic humans.
Yeah. One of the best synths in like the Alien franchise.
Oh my god, yeah, so bloody good, honestly. Probably the best. Andy is probably the most endearing and just lovable synthetic human that we've gotten since Bishop in Aliens. Like obviously we have David in Prometheus, who's great, but he's a bastard in those movies, and then kind of upends Covenant a little bit that we've discussed previously. But yeah, I loved his character in Romulus. I loved his dynamic with Rain and with some of the other characters that we meet later on in the film, and just the central conflict surrounding him and his primary directive. Oh, it's so just so interesting to watch, and I was not expecting this. I was not expecting them to go down this route of him being the synthetic human. Like, it's revealed early on, but I remember when they showed the milk blood coming out, I'm like, oh, okay, we're going down this route. I thought he was just a quirky dude, but okay, we're getting interesting with this. Nice.
Oh, 100%. And it's such a testament to how good the dynamic and chemistry is between Rain and Andy, and also how good and how effectively the film makes Rain an audience surrogate, right? Because the only reason that we care about Andy so much is because Rain really fucking cares about him.
Yeah.
And then puts us in her shoes, and you want to protect this dude, and you can really, and also, man, it becomes a motif in this movie, right, of him telling these lame little jokes, and it is so essential to humanizing this synth.
Yeah.
And it really is. You can see the synth's belief and motivation to be as human as it possibly can be, because it's treated like a human. It's beautiful. And holy God, the actor David Johnson, who plays this guy, I've not seen him in anything else. Pretty much only other big thing that he was in was Rye Lane, which was had a bit of traction and popularity last year as a Disney Plus rom-com.
Okay.
But holy god, the dual performance that this guy gives.
Yes.
Whoa,
Incredible.
There's a turning point in the film where he gets like an upgrade to his software, and man, he enters the room and he doesn't even say anything yet, but his whole energy is different and changed. And
oh my god,
nothing really physically changes for him, but you see him as a completely different character now.
Yeah, oh my god, completely.
So David Johnson, holy god, he will be, this is where he's going to get discovered.
Completely. Like both the dual performances, it's night and day, because like when he gets his upgrade and just like kind of and loses that sense of humanity that he was shown early in the film, it's genuinely chilling to see when it's first revealed. It's so chilling, and just as the film goes on, you're just left on the edge of your seat wondering like, what is going to happen, like, it's so good. And it's also just a really interesting dynamic to like take with these synthetic humans, because they're either shown to be fully good or completely evil. I mean, hell, even in the first movie, Ash, it's supposed to be a twist that like he's evil later on in the film, but it's very obvious. Even like if you watch the film a second time, it's very blatantly obvious that you can tell there's something off with him. But with this, it's like you're left on the edge of your. Obviously, when he turns evil, not evil, but when he gets upgraded, you're wondering like what is going to happen. Like is he going to come back, or it's just really riveting stuff, man.
You really feel like that a friend is taken away from you, right?
Yeah,
like when he's upgraded,
that's a
and like
great
when his
analogy.
humanity.
Oh my god!
When his humanity like is almost taken from him, and he becomes like a part of the corporate machine, and his flaw, like he becomes a more effective synth for the Weyland-Yutani organization, but then loses the flaws that make us human, and.
Yeah.
And like you can see the devastation in Rain, where it's like, where did he go? Like, where did Andy go? Oh my god! Okay, I just have to really quickly say that I love so much. This is definitely one of those entries that talking about the film more is making me like it more than I even thought when I watched it.
Yeah,
like,
no, I know, right?
Because there's just so much going for it. But I do have to say, just to like humble the film a little bit, we're talking about characters.
Yep.
Pretty much all the other characters are pretty disposable and one note. And like, but I honestly didn't mind it that much, because it gave more room for these two central characters to really shine.
You know what I think is that because I agree with you that like apart from Rain and Andy, the other characters, they're nothing really to write home about. But I feel that the characters, they're just developed enough where like they're nothing special, but you still feel for them when they're in peril, and you don't want to see them, like you don't really want to see them die, kind of thing. They're no crew of the Nostromo or the Colonial Marines and Aliens, but they're just good enough that I am invested when they're getting attacked. Like that's I think a good that's how I perceived the rest of the cast in this movie. They're good, and I at least cared enough.
Yeah, totally, man. Pretty much the only one that I didn't really like, that I would have had no issue with that character dying, is the dude with the really thick British accent.
Which one? They both had thick British accents.
I think it's Bjorn, like the
one with the bandana, right?
Yes, yeah.
But I feel like that was the intention of the film, though, was to make him unlikable. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
That was not like an accident.
Yeah. And boy, what a death he gets.
Oh my god, yes. There's a good diverse methods of people getting killed through this, which is nice and cool to see.
We'll get a lot of hits, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of looking, man, this film looked beautiful.
Oh my god, yes. From the opening shot with the spaceship and just silence, this movie looks and sounds incredible. Oh my lord. Like if you please, audience, go watch this in theaters, because it is a marvel to see. Like, just see it on the biggest screen that you can possibly watch it on, because it is gorgeous.
it is like, okay, I have some very massive advice for it as well. Don't just go to any old cinema for it. Like, you really need to go to, even though that I don't really love Hoyts and Village and stuff, like the big chains, but I think you sort of need to see it at something like that, because I saw it at sort of like a smaller Palace cinema at Shout In for Palace Central Cinemas, because it was too bright, the actual cinema room.
Oh, really?
And I've got to be honest, like, I could tell that it looked beautiful, and the scenes and the shots that I could see were stunning, but there were so many shots that you could not see shit.
Damn,
it was
really?
approaching AVP Requiem levels of not being able to see shit, because there was just a little bit of light pollution in the room, and because it wasn't the brightest projection ever. And
that's
like,
rough, dude.
To watch this at home, you need a fucking OLED, like, extreme high-end Sony Bravia or something to be able to see this. I don't think a normal TV will be able to cut it. Sadly, I think that you really have to build your whole experience around seeing it in complete darkness, because it is very, very dark. Like, there's this one shot in the movie that stands out to me when they go to a corridor, and the corridor is revealed to be like one of the sort of like hives where they keep the sort of incubating humans.
Yes.
And they reveal that, like, it's like the hive sort of spot.
Yeah.
And when they go through that room and there's this big pull-out shot, I had no idea what was going on. I did not know what I was seeing.
I definitely see what you mean, kind of thing, because it took me a second to register what was going on. I can only imagine how bad that would have been for you, dude. Fucking hell.
I knew that it was dramatic. I knew that it was scary because of the music, but I had no idea what I was looking at, and that was quite disappointing. But
damn.
I don't want to put it against the movie, because it is as dark as it should be. Like the whole place is essentially lit up by only essential lighting, and is a rundown sort of left ship to be scavenged. It should be quite dark.
Yeah, of course.
And also, speaking of like looking at this, the set's just beautiful. It really feels like in the same vein of the original Alien, how it's like an organism, the ship itself.
Yeah.
A lot more vaginal iconography in this all over the place.
Oh my days, yes. Okay, I'm glad that you noticed it as well. Oh my days. Do we want to discuss one of the primary shots where that is shown, or do we want to wait a little bit?
Are you talking about the big egg hive thing on the wall?
Yeah, when we first the first proper reveal of our titular xenomorph. Yes.
Go for it.
Insane. Okay, so I feel like in all the Alien movies, obviously we get the chest burst, and then the little rat will run away, and then next shot it's a big xenomorph. And I've always wondered, like, how does that transformation work? Does it just like grow limbs and just sprout up in a couple hours? And in this, we finally get like a proper reveal of like the next stage of the xenomorph, which is they basically make like an egg or a cocoon and come out like this, and come out like a disgusting butterfly, and the imagery that is used is so bloody. It is so bloody disgusting. Like, it literally just takes the form of vaginal imagery and basically resembles that of childbirth. It like human childbirth, and it is. Oh my days, it is disgusting, and it is, but at the same time, really cool to see that these Alien movies, so far removed from the original, they're still bringing in new and disgusting phallic imagery, in new and creative ways. Like, it is harrowing.
I thought that you were gonna say it's so disgusting, gross, but in a way, it's so beautiful. The miracle of childbirth. I was so upsetting that you didn't say that.
Look, just to harken back, just to include that sentence in a way, is that while it's not beautiful, I was smiling ear to ear seeing that childbirth scene happen, just because we finally got to see our titular alien come to life again. And oh boy, oh my days, like, bro, just the close-up shots of that that monster coming out, bro, like, I feel like you know how like people like rag on like fanboys for like Star Wars and Marvel and all that, where they're like, they get excited like, oh, this character's back kind of thing. That was like, I'll make fun of that sometimes, but bro, that was me. We're seeing the Xenomorph again on the big screen. Oh my days, it was so cool to see. And also, it's a proper Xenomorph, like nothing like in Covenant where we had our chestburster scene and it was, you remember like the little tiny marionette fucking looking ass Xenomorph that came out? You remember? Yeah,
I do remember.
Like, it's just so good just to see a proper back to basics alien, and I can't get enough of it, man. Oh my days.
Actually, interesting you bringing that up. This has made me realize that I've not seen a single Alien film in a cinema before.
Me neither.
Oh, okay, dude, when I'm back in Melbourne, because they always do this, right? They always do the Alien and Aliens double billing. Fuck, man, let's do that. Go to the Astor or something and see it, because I can only imagine how freaking beautiful that would be on, like, a massive screen.
Oh, my days, yes.
Yeah, like the shot of seeing the Xenomorph's like hand sort of like form and fingers make shape.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
Oh, my days, yeah.
This film, I feel, is essentially like for the first half, because this doesn't happen until like a while through and a few deaths have happened that the Xenomorph comes into play. The main threat on this ship for a long time are the face huggers.
Oh my god, yes.
And it's essentially like a spider movie in space, with these crawling little things, and heaps of it was practical as well, which is cool. And like now looking into it post movie, that's what a lot of the marketing is doing as well, is sort of cementing this one as like the face huggers are the most threatening thing in a majority of Romulus.
It's a nice little showcase for the little buggers, because I'll tell you what, that was one thing that I had briefly spoiled, is that I did see a shot from one of the trailers that showed a lot of face huggers, and I'm thinking like, I only saw it briefly, and I was like, oh no, what is this? Like, it looks weird, it looks kind of CG. And to be fair, I only saw like a split second. All right, so that shot did not do it justice when watching the movie, because my god, this is like the first half is as you said, it's the face hugger show, and oh my days, they have never been more scarier in this. Oh my lord, like genuinely, and this is something just to say about the whole film, is that like this is like I was genuinely scared, well, like on the edge of my seat, scared watching this. Like I'm like clenching my fists together watching this, smiling, but clenching my fist, which like it does like so many horror movies, they don't do that for me, kind of thing. I can enjoy a horror film, but I don't get like the heebie-jeebies watching stuff like this, and just seeing the face huggers in the water and leaping up at the characters' faces. Oh my days, like, oh, it was so cool. Oh, the scene of them like walking in silence with all the face huggers like listening, very reminiscent of stuff from Don't Breathe. Very reminiscent of that kind of stuff, which so bloody cool. Loved it so much.
It is actually like quite a scary movie. Like it gets it nails the horror, the horror of the whole thing.
Yes.
And freaking love that. The Xenomorphs look good. They have presence. There is one thing that I noticed though in this movie that I think happened a handful of times, at least 2 or 3 times, is that it felt like there were moments where the Xenomorphs will just seem to stop for a moment to allow the characters to do whatever they need to do to get out of this life or death situation.
Right.
As in the Xenomorph is in the freaking face of our protagonist or another human, and is just taking its good old time looking at the face and like getting the little head out of its mouth to kill this character.
No, that's
but then
fair.
and it waits just long enough to get shot or to get hit or something like that. And there's especially, I think I felt that when they were in that corridor with like the sort of hive, and there's like a few Xenomorphs like coming toward Rain. And she's trying to get into the elevator, and it's taking her longer than anticipated. And the Xenomorphs sort of just stand there for a little bit, and they take their sweet-ass time because the script sort of demands it. That it's like wants to have them close by for the tension, but also wants to make sure that the character can get through.
Yeah,
and
there's definitely a little bit of plot armor being showcased. Yeah.
That disappointed me a little bit because I did notice it, and then it made me not as afraid of these Xenos, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I feel like the other films have done similar stuff with that, but yeah, that is a fair point to make, honestly.
I think that the strongest fear in this whole film comes from the fear of being used as an incubator. I think I'm not as afraid of the Xenos as I was of that, right? Like, and there's a lot of that going on, and I think that especially too with like the women characters in here are the ones that are being implanted and like fearing that. Like, there's this awesome foreshadowing, right, of the X-ray machine where
oh my god, yeah.
Oh, it's so good,
dude, yes.
Where, like, our first sort of victim, her character is Navarro. She, she puts it through her arm, shows that it's, like, an easy X-ray, whatever, but then brings it out later where she already has, like, the baby xenomorph inside of her, and you can see it trying to burst through her rib cage from the outside, from the inside out. Oh, my God. So good.
It's so good. And I want to make a quick note about the chest bursting scene is that obviously it was never going to top the original. One thing I love about this chest bursting scene in particular is that every other film, they always have the alien just come out in one quick, clean burst. I love in this that it almost struggles to come out of a ribcage, like that of a baby reptile or a baby bird, where it's never one quick, clean, successful escape. It's like it's struggling to come out. I thought that was such a neat little wicked detail that I was like, that is really cool. I really like that.
Oh, the whole reveal is freaking awesome. Like,
completely.
My God.
Even beforehand when she gets face hugged and we get that disgusting shot of like just how deep the disgusting proboscis or whatever the fuck you want to call it, like, is getting yanked out of her throat. Oh my days. Absolutely
definitely
sickening.
not phallic imagery at all.
Oh, totally not. No. Definitely not very reminiscent of, fucking sexual assault or anything. No.
Speaking of bringing new life to old things, there's a character that shows up in this.
We're bringing it up. Yep. Okay.
Of course, we've got to. I feel like this is one of the things that everyone will have an opinion on, right?
Yeah.
Is we get a legacy character in this, and it's not one of the xenomorphs. It is the OG synth himself, Rook, comes about.
Played by Bilbo Baggins himself, Ian Holm. Damn straight.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
And like it. It is a highlight that they haven't figured out this whole deep fake face technology just yet.
Yes.
And the whole time that he was on screen, I just thought that he looks like a Team America puppet. That's all that I could think, and it brings you out of it a little bit.
Yeah, right.
And it makes you really think, like, is it worth the member berries of bringing back a legacy character if it does take you out of the immersion of the whole thing? Is it worth it?
That's fair enough, man. Like when it happened, I've been thinking about this ever since watching Romulus, is that I don't know if I like it or if I hate the inclusion. Now, on one hand, you mentioned the janky animation of bringing back Ian Holm, since, he did pass away in 2020. On one hand, the jankiness kind of works because it's supposed to be, it's like a it's a destroyed synthetic. So on one hand, the janky animation works because it's supposed to look, like uncanny. It's supposed to look just human enough, but a little bit uncomfortable. But at the same time, yes, I do agree, it is very distracting. And also, in a way, I don't know is it poor taste or not to bring back a deceased actor in this role for just member berries? Like, it filled me up with a weird feeling. And I will say this, I think the inclusion it is just a little bit more than just, you know, nostalgia bait, where he actually does kind of serve a purpose as like a secondary villain in this film, and the causing rift between, you know, really amplifies the rift between Rain and Andy. But at the same time, did we really need to bring back Ian Holm for this film? Did you could have literally brought back any kind of, like, you could have, like, just created, like, any kind of synthetic or whatever, or hell, even just do a bloody Alien Covenant and just have two of the same actor for what's the actor's name that plays Andy again?
His name is, damn, I had it in my notes just before. It is David Johnson.
Yeah, just even that. I mean, that would probably be weird. But even just have two David Johnsons or whatever. I don't know. It's just weird.
The jankiness totally gets you, and I think that's an excellent point. It is all in the face, though. It's all in the face, looking like a deep fake thing that you can do on Face App. Like, it looks like it can, like, that sort of quality of deep fake is pretty much the level of, like, apps that anyone can get on their phone, it feels like. And I think that there's a higher expectation for what can be done there. Like here's the thing too, is that I think that like I wouldn't really blame any of the writers or like people deciding to have him in there, because I think that they would have had full faith that the tech department would have been able to make it look uncanny like he was there. Because there have been better times that it has been used, and it has been like less weird and uncanny. So I think that they would have thought that it would have looked perfect, and then they see the finished product and they would have been like, they would have said so many times, "Are you sure that you can't make it look a little bit better? Are you sure? Because I can't get my eyes off it when he's on screen." And then they would have reviewed it probably about 28 times, and that's the best they were going to get.
Oh dude, you know what, actually, I just thought about this now. You know what would have made the inclusion a little bit less distracting is that if you wanted to include, you know, Ian Holm in this film as, like, you know, like, bit of nostalgia, don't have him as like a physical synthetic. Maybe have him be like the computer system of the Romulus. Like if you want to show him off on monitors, show him off on pixelated monitors, so you can still have that nostalgia, but it's a little less distracting. You know what I mean? You can still do what they.
Great idea.
You can still do what they do in the film, but just, you know, it's just a little less uncanny. I just had that thought now. I just had that thought now. I'm thinking, like, that would have worked a lot better, I feel.
Totally. And maybe they could have still had the reveal of, like, bringing him up and, like, sort of laying him down, like, where it's, like, all brought up for the first time.
Yeah.
And then maybe he, like, loses, like, control of that sort of vessel of his body, and then sort of inhabits the AI of the ship or something.
Yeah.
And then it's not as distracting through that point forward, because I would be immersed, and then it would cut to him, and then I'll be like, oh my god,
completely, man. Like that. Oh my goodness, yeah.
One motif that I worth shouting out here that I really liked throughout this film was this, like, constant gravity system that would go on and off throughout. And that added this really, really nice layer of intensity to the film. As well as especially leading to this fantastic sequence with acid blood floating in the air, because they're on, like, the bottom deck of the ship, and there's all these Xenos coming for them, and they know that they can't, like, shoot and kill all of them because their blood will just go straight through the ship and then fuck them all up. So their only solution is to turn on that gravity system or anti-gravity system, so then it's just this floating acid all through the compartment. Great moment.
So cool, and it's just so creative as well. Like, oh my god, I can't sing my praises enough for, like, just the creativity that this series can still bring to the table all these entries later. Like, it's so cool to see, man, and genuinely, like, really riveting as well. Like, that whole acid zero gravity acid sequence. Incredible, fucking incredible.
I wonder if Fede Alvarez, like, started as just, like, a really, really good fanfic writer, and that's how he got into this, because he knows how to grow and expand in interesting ways ideas and concepts that are already there. And yeah, really, really well like works them together to make something fresh. There is a pregnant woman in this movie, and earlier in the film, one of the characters tells her, "You are having this baby." And she ends up like many times seeming like that she's gonna die and be like taken over and all these sort of things. Like you're really, really fearing this woman's life, and you think, oh yeah, she's not gonna make it.
Yeah,
but she does have a baby in this.
Yes, and what a beautiful little boy it is.
Oh my god! How did your cinema react to the baby?
I'm gonna be honest, man. Some of them were laughing when he was first shown off. They were laughing. No, actually, I want to hear your thoughts first. I've been so curious to hear what your thoughts are on this creature that is revealed in the third act. What were your initial thoughts?
I loved it. I loved it so much.
Yeah.
That was a moment of like when we did Resurrection, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say Resurrection. I'll bring it back to Resurrection.
Yeah, I think that we both really enjoyed the newborn from Resurrection, this contaminated alien human DNA hybrid.
Yeah.
And this, I love that it was like a different shade of that.
Yeah.
And from what I believe, like when analyzing the lore of this and what I heard in the movie, is that what we got from so this xenomorph hybrid that we see in Alien Romulus goes as the offspring, is what it's like credited as.
Okay.
And from my understanding, is about 25% xenomorph DNA. Because I think that the black tar goo stuff.
The engineers, bro.
Yeah. Is like, but I think that there's 25% of that DNA in there or something like that.
Yeah.
And I love how the monstrosity and how powerful the DNA is in there to like, with only 25%, you think, oh yeah, a quarter isn't that much, but how much of like a strong primal organic force that it is that it made this monstrosity creature.
Oh my god, it is insane.
And it is terrifying. It is more like probably scarier than the newborn from Resurrection because of it being
completely
because of it being closer to a human. Oh my god. And and the offspring is played by a real human being, the Romanian basketball player Robert Bobrovsky.
Oh, okay.
Who is 7'7", and I feel like you've probably even seen him before. He's one of those like people that pop up on like socials here and there. And he looks quite similar to the offspring. They probably didn't have to do too much for the CGI, to be honest.
Yeah.
Definitely worth checking out. But fuck, man, this creature, this Slender Man-ass looking thing, had presence.
I will say there was presence. I will be honest. Look, I'm going to be completely frank for a second. For like the first maybe 30 seconds, I'm like, what the fuck is like my thoughts were just, what the fuck is this? What are we doing? But as it's going on and as we get more of a showcase of the creature, when we see it more out of the shadows, it like I started to get used to it, and I'm like, initially I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this, but I'm starting to like it more and more, and we get to see it as more of a threat and just more of its power and its scale. And I'm like, okay, this is strange, but I kind of love it. And I saying to you, I kind of went back and thought about I'm like, okay, they're doing what they did in Resurrection, but they're actually making it like scary and not goofy as fuck, because we both liked the Alien Resurrection hybrid, but I've gone on public record saying that I hate the design of the hybrid, so I'm very happy that they did something different. Very, very reminiscent of, again, like a very what do you call it, lanky version of the engineers. Like the face, I got so much like just vibes of the engineers from Prometheus, and which makes sense because the black goo is mentioned, and it's like it's reverse engineered that instead of destroying it, it can create and modify and develop the perfect organism, and you can see that in the face of this creature, and it's just really goddamn creepy, like, just for lack of a better word. It's really creepy.
Oh, the shots of when the liquid nitrogen gun sort of like explodes and fills the entire compartment hallway with like sort of like smoke from liquid nitrogen, and you can see just like the outline of the creature following Rain. Yeah. Oh my god, genius.
Dude.
Absolute genius.
So fucking good. Oh, dude, how about the shot of when it's actually standing on its hind legs? Oh my god, when seeing it stand at its full height. Oh my days. And apparently, and like you're telling me that this is a real person with maybe some CGI enhancements? That is insane, bro. Oh my days.
Fuck, man. It for me, it hit every beat that it should have of complete shock. It had my theater like around its finger completely, like as in just all of us and no one like there were some screams, but then silence of everyone just processing this whole thing. My mouth, fucking jaw on the floor, hand over my mouth. Oh, it was doing everything that it should have, and I loved every second of it.
So fucking this was just so just an unexpected, like, I mean, obviously it's hinted at that like they will go down a weird route at the end, but like just the route that they go is just so bizarre but so interesting as well.
I love that, right? It's so good, the bizarre nature.
No, exactly. Like, I don't have a problem with it. It's like, even initially when I'm like, oh, how do I feel about this? But as I'm watching, I'm like, okay, I feel weird at first, but let's just see what they do with this. And as it goes on, I'm like, okay, I really like this. And even if I hated the Offspring, just the fact that they had the balls to include something like this, in this new Alien movie, I have to respect it. It's incredible.
I think it's such a needle drop that needs to that I am always sort of looking for in the third act of a film to do, because it's like, okay, no way that is an expected thing. Like, no way that you're expecting that at the start of the film, right?
No, not at all.
But it doesn't feel like completely out of left field, like that they're just shoving whatever into my face.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like such an earned surprise. And there's nothing that I love more in a film when there's like an earned surprise.
Oh, completely, man.
The only bit in the theater, in the film, that got more of an audience reaction was, of course, when our good man does say, "Get away from her, you bitch."
I rolled my eyes during that line. That was Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, when they dropped the cat in this line. Like, I rolled my eyes at that shit.
Yeah.
That was, like, I don't have a problem. Like that's what I was gonna say earlier, is that like there is some nostalgia baiting that like was either like, okay, like the inclusion of the Nostromo wreck at the start of the movie, that's fine. But yeah, some of the lines that they were using, some of the lines that were reused, that was like when they would say like, I'll be back, when they would rehash the "I'll be back" line from in the later Terminator sequels. It's just don't do it. Don't do it. Like, I get it. It's supposed to elicit audiences' reactions, but don't do it. It never works, bro.
I feel like, I would disagree in the way of that. I don't really, like, it doesn't really piss me off that the film did this, because if I'm watching this in my living room and they do that, it's like, oh, okay, cool little moment, whatever.
Yeah.
It pisses me off that people in the theater clapped at this.
Oh god, no one clapped when that happened in my theater, but oh my god,
there was clapping, there was laughing, there was a little bit of crying, pissing, and shitting, I believe, as well. There was like,
god.
It was, and that's what pisses me off, and that's of course why they do it, right? I can't blame the film for putting that in there if people will still like clap over it, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so,
my days.
Yeah, a little bit of like, but fuck, man, it breaks the tension.
No, it
breaks the tension.
It completely
so
does.
much. I don't think that the line breaks the tension. I think that the reaction breaks the tension.
I personally think both break the tension. You know how I am. I don't like it when they include shit like that in movies, because it's just like, just do your own thing. Like, you don't need you don't need to include that kind of crap in a later movie. I get why they include it. I completely get it. I flat out hate it. I flat out hate it, honestly, man. Like, I don't like it.
I think what pisses me off about the clapping is that it's like, the only reason they're doing that, right, is to tell everyone else in the theater that they get the reference.
Yeah.
Like, it's, hey, everyone, I've seen the first one, so I know what this is referencing.
Oh, my days.
Yeah, dude, probably everyone here has. It's fine.
Oh, my God. Because, like, there was a similar sequence, like, earlier in the scene when they're in the lab and they, what do you call it, the nice British guy is showing Rain how to wield the pulse rifle, and in the scene, basically shot for shot, the same as the scene in Aliens when Michael Biehn is showing Sigourney Weaver how to use the rifle. Like, even that was like a bit much for me, but I'm like, okay, you know what? That's just towing the line, okay? That's just towing the line. And I'm like, if I just don't see anything else, if I don't see anything else like that in the film, that's fine. And then obviously we got the iconic "Get away from her, you bitch." And I'm like, okay, nah. I'm docking a point for you, Alien Romulus, on that. Like, I'm docking it.
You're there like, okay, strike one, not too bad. And then Rook came up, okay, strike two, this is a little bit weird, he's dead. And then, get away from her, you bitch. Strike three, get the fuck out.
Worst movie ever. I'm gonna apologize to Alien Covenant right now.
Half a star on Letterboxd. Get the fuck out of here. One other thing that I want to say about the ending is that Fede Alvarez seems to have this pattern that I really like, is that it's almost like that he has multiple endings in his films. Like, as in, like, there are points in the film where you feel like, okay, the credits could roll here, but then there's a little bit more that just adds a little extra layer to it, and it feels deserving and purposeful and earned. So... and that definitely happens here, right? Is that pre The Offspring coming about, around like the sort of 1 hour 45 mark. Yeah. Like, it could sort of end and you're like, oh, okay, so these characters are sort of getting a way out of this.
I actually thought it was going to end, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then that shows effective sort of like leading of the audience and like misleading of them, right?
Yeah.
But then they give us a little bit extra that you didn't even know that you needed. You didn't know that the movie, like, you didn't know that you wanted, and you didn't know that the movie needed. And it gives it to you, and then it, like, holy shit, adds this whole other nuance to it all.
Oh, yeah, so fucking good.
And in them doing that, okay, here I'm gonna go into like theming analysis here.
It's time
Rhys's pieces of mind.
Yeah, Rhys's pieces of mind. It's been he needs to let this out after doing 4 Chipmunks movies. All right, like
exactly.
We got to let him have this audience. All right, I'm gonna sit down, shut the fuck up, and listen and learn. Take it away.
Okay, so one of my favorite things that this movie did to still remain thematically consistent with the beauty of the Alien franchise was exploring those maternal fears. It brought it back up. For those that haven't heard the overview episode, very passionate that what is essential to the DNA of the Alien franchise is exploring maternal fear. And what this one really, really goes in on is with procreation, having DNA from a corrupted evil source and then making procreation into like the ultimate maternal fear, right? And how, like, a fear of sounding like a broken record, extremely relevant in our current climate with Roe versus Wade, in the similar way that the first Omen did this. This movie being a pro-abortion film once again. With that, the whole thing is about like we follow this pregnant woman through like all of it. In the back, she's a bit in the background.
Yeah.
But her whole thing is that she doesn't really like know the father of the baby. It's not really like too important who it is. But then eventually the baby gets corrupted by this DNA in the same way of like all the inseminations here. Unconsensual evil forces forcing their way into the female body. But then with the birth being brought to term, then it creates this monster that the world probably would have been better off not having it there. And it is then a force of destruction rather than of beauty and life of everything. Sometimes procreation can resemble death more than life in the case of this offspring. And how funny that the last modern horror addition to a franchise with The First Omen also pro-abortion Roe versus Wade like response film.
Yeah.
And that's definitely like that goes into my thesis of Alien Romulus and adapting the theming of the entire franchise whilst making it even more relevant and timely to this day. And that gets a chef's kiss from me.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man. Didn't yeah, I was gonna say before and then you brought up First Omen, so I was like, oh, I don't even really need to, but it's like, it's just the fact that we've got like two big like long time sequels. I mean, didn't even about the pro-abortion angle. Did Immaculate do the same kind of thing, since that's kind of a similar film to The First Omen? Did that have a similar kind of vibe to it?
Oh, I don't think Immaculate thought about it as much. Like
right,
that's the thing, right? Because Immaculate is The First Omen, but with all the substance
with the nuance taken out. Yeah. Fair. I can't comment. I still haven't seen Immaculate, but yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that's we've got The First Omen at home, and it's actually Immaculate. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, right. No, fair point. No, that's beautifully done, man. Beautifully worded.
Oh, thank you. One thing that we need to call back on really quickly to the opening, how we didn't know what the fuck Romulus even means. So Kane and I looked into it, did a little bit of research, and Romulus is actually it seems actually quite relevant as a title for this film, which also seems to embed itself in the theming of the movie, because when you search up who Romulus is, it's this legend of Romulus and Remus, who are sort of like the founders of Rome, and the legend has it that they were twin brothers that were sent by their parents off to pretty much die in the woods, being led off in a river, and a wolf found them, and this female wolf raised them as her own, fed them, and then eventually Romulus and Remus went on to then find Rome. And how much of a fitting allegory is that for the narrative that we see here, right? Of humanity and the sort of animal worlds coming together to create a creature and then start an empire. And that's essentially what the fucking xenomorphs are trying to do in the first place.
Yeah, it's insane. It's funny because I just thought Romulus was just a cool sounding subtitle, but it has actually deeper meaning behind it. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, there's actually some intention there. And I think ultimately then what that tells me, and what consistently the entire film tells me, is that no shortcuts were taken here. Most of the holes are filled, most of the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. That there hasn't been a lot put into this movie that wasn't intentional and thought out. And that really seems to be a bit of a calling card and a stamp from Fede Alvarez so far.
Oh, definitely.
And I can't wait to see more and what he has going on next. And I'm sure that this is only the brink and the start of the long career of interesting films that are going to come out of this man. And I could not be more satisfied with this. something that I do want to hear from you before we finish this all off is, where does Alien Romulus fit into your ranking of the franchise?
Oh, man, yeah, I've been thinking about this, actually. So, okay, I can comfortably say that this film is leagues and bounds better than Covenant, Alien 3, both AVP movies. Honestly, I prefer this over Aliens, honestly. I prefer this over Aliens. And I'd probably say it would maybe rank either second or third. I would need to rewatch Prometheus, but I'd say second or third, you know?
Damn.
Pretty high stuff. Part of me wanted to rank it lower than Resurrection, but because Resurrection is just such a funny movie, but there's
no basketball scenes in this. Might have a 7'7" basketballer, but no one actually handles the ball.
That is a bit upsetting. Yeah. And there's no, I mean, you know, if they were going to include some cringy, nostalgic lines, they could have at least, made a nostalgic line to Alien Resurrection with, we did it, we saved the Earth, something like that. Like, come on, we did.
I think about that line once a week. I'm not even kidding.
Same here, man. I love Alien Resurrection so much. But yeah,
we saved the Earth.
I would say, look, I'll just say, like, I'd rank it third. I would rank it third underneath Alien and Prometheus. Let's just say that for now.
Dude, I am the exact same. I'm not going to go too much into it because you've pretty much said all my same opinions. Is that this gets a bronze medal for me. Alien first place, Prometheus second place, and then Alien Romulus. Which, holy god, that is like, good job, Romulus. My hat goes off to you.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, this is nothing like the Omen movies where it was like most of the sequels were kind of on and off kind of thing. Like with Aliens, like it's pretty much been banger after banger kind of thing. So for a film made like 40, 50 years after the original to like be third place, good fucking job, boys.
Oh, 100%. Well, do you have any closing remarks before we put this to bed and have to wait several more years for more Alien?
I guess what I can say is that what I loved about this movie is that you can tell that this was made with love. While something like Covenant was made as almost an obligation to be an Alien film, this was made as a celebration of the Alien films, and I couldn't love it, and I love it for that.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's actually a great way to put it. This such aesthetically and narratively rich film, I had no idea that I was craving so much to be terrified and be brought back to the maternal anxiety of the Alien franchise. But it did it for me, and I could not be fucking happier. And don't forget to check out our Facebook page at MarathonMeOfficial, all one word, and our Instagram, MarathonMe_official, to keep up to date on the podcast. And hey, if you want to get into contact with us, email us at marathonmepodc, yes, the letter C, @gmail.com. Like podcast without the ask.